Okay, I just started recording now straight away, so yeah, if you need it, you can just cut it through and the intro starts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, and I think that you are working now. So one more thing.
Oh, let's see, even more things. I am so gonna take over DC News. I'm gonna be the new news anchor. Yep, I'm gonna take over.
All right. Yep, you appear to be working now. Okay. Good. I will start my recording. Okay. And yeah, let's head on up to the interview room.
Right. Just gonna do this. Maybe we should take this off. There we go.
All right. We'll get started. I gotta get into reporter character. Okay. We have today KvaGram, the autistic duck, the archmage of the Herbalist faction, and greatest road layer in all of Octavian. KvaGram, welcome to the DC News Studio.
Thank you very much. I noticed this studio also has a road. You're always welcome to ask if you need help with that.
Well, we very well may take you up on that. Yes, maybe get a little commission in. Now, I'll go ahead and enter these questions that we've laid out here for you. The first one being, well, let me first say, rather, that as a lead reporter of DC News, I would like to apologize for the episode where we mourned Stanley's death and placed the blame on the herbalist heads. You see, at the time, facts seemed to point towards the herbalist being at fault for that, and but we have, of course, since learned that the herbabot has become enraged and gone rogue.
Yes, Herbert's betrayal came to us, shocked us all. We knew when installing his core that he would be capable of limited self-awareness, but this was truly unexpected.
Indeed. Of course, as you just said, your mechanical and bee-controlled construct, the herbabot, recently went rogue, and also recently facilitated the kidnapping of both Stanley and Timmy.
Oh? Oh, they got Timmy?
Yes, yeah.
Sorry,
They
my
did.
condolences. I had not heard about Timmy. When
Oh
did that
yes,
happen?
that was a very recent development, unfortunately. Although it seems that, based on the security footage of our studio here, that it seems more like that was the Blue Flames idea. But yes, the kidnapping of Timmy has been explained as the Blue Flame Society. Yes, they need all members to achieve their full power.
Hmm.
But um, aside from, so we know why they would have kidnapped Timmy, but what are your thoughts on the reasoning for the herbabot, excuse me, for having kidnapped Stanley?
Oh, I do have some insight into that. You see, when I shut down what was left of Herbert's original core in the village, I was able to access Herbert's undocumented logs. It seems he had planned this for quite some time. And for one thing, I can confirm that Herbert had indeed and may still be hosting a virtual copy of Stanley. I presume he kept him as a closer study. And the logs also reveal the location of Herbert's new core. I went out to scout it, but it's full of bees, and I can't get in there to get a closer look. But I believe this is where the real Stanley is being kept.
I see. Well, very interesting. Um, Herbot and the Blue Flame Society, they of course teamed up. You know what their overarching plan is?
Uh, well, Herbert wants to become Archmage. He clearly have the archmage of called all of the sorcerer's game. He even called me a false archmage, so I think his plan is just to rule us all.
Interesting. Well, that's very rude. Very rude of it. The Herot becoming the Archmage. After it becomes Archmage, what are your thoughts on what it might do if it achieves that goal, or afterwards?
Oh, I honestly don't know. I looked in his logs for some clues, but I couldn't find anything about any future plans. I'm not even sure Herbot even knows it himself.
Fair enough. Both you and the Herbot have explained that the Herbot itself is an older model of the Chrombot from Season 7 of Hermitcraft. What are your thoughts? Do you think that maybe these older models are prone to these kinds of glitches?
Actually, that's a bit curious. You see, it came to a surprise to me that Herbot was even aware of Grumbot. Shouldn't have been. Maybe someone told him. I don't know.
Oh.
Well, to be honest, when I got this model, I didn't look much into why the model was discontinued. I just thought that there was a new model out and thus it was discounted. And now I kind of skipped through most of the documentation. So I just winged it and I installed him. It was not all that difficult. So I really don't know. Though I think Sir Duck has read some into these issues a little bit, so maybe he knows a bit more.
Fair enough. Now, because Stanley and Timmy have both been kidnapped, is there some sort of plan in the works for the rescue of Stanley and Timmy?
Well, we are actually working close with the Stormmasters on the plan. Yes, I know it's a bit ironic, but the war is over and we are seeking friendly relations. So we're looking into solutions to that. One scrapped idea we had was to simply flood a cave, but since some of the B-bots may have gotten waterproofed during the efforts in the war, and such a flooding may harm or even kill, well, the captives,
Yes.
it was deemed a bad idea, so this is an ongoing process.
Yeah, fair enough, yes. Flooding would most certainly damage both Stanley and Timmy. Of course, Timmy is fire. All right. Now, moving on from this, let's get to know you a little bit more. Of course, you've been playing the Sorcerer's game for a little while now, and you really brought the Herbalist to where they are today. At the beginning of this, though, is there any particular reason why you decided to choose the Herbalists to begin with, as opposed to any other academy?
Well, you have to ask the ducks about that because they are just. It was the ducks who put me in that direction. As you can probably understand, we got a rather close connection. Many of the ducks see me as their leader, so some of those ducks eventually settle into the Herbalist village.
I see. You're saying that the ducks are the ones who decided that you should join the Herbalists.
Yeah, those. You have to ask them, boy, but they want me to be in the Herbalists faction, and well, I really didn't find any reason why not. So.
Oh, fair enough. Now, of course, you say it in every beginning of excuse me. Of course, you say it at the beginning of every one of your episodes, but you are, of course, a duck yourself. How did a duck learn to speak like a human and gain the abilities and the powers that you have?
Oh boy. Okay. Well, I assumed you knew. See, me an actual real duck. That would be kind of silly. Get some think about it. It's a bit weird. Nobody actually called me out on it before now. But no, I'm not actually a real duck. This speak is actually a prosthetic. But since you asked, I suppose you would like a look. I must warn you, it's not pretty.
I'd be very interested.
Okay, hold on, let me see if I can get this off. What's this?
I see.
Yeah.
Now, is that, were you involved in some sort of experiment or
Well,
accident?
kinda. It happened long before I joined Octavian. I was helping my old friend Monocon with his particular problem. You'd know if you ever saw him. He's a bit, I wouldn't exactly say half Enderman, but half Enderman. So, yeah, it's kind of in the same boat. And, I really don't want to go much more detailed about it. It's kind of awkward. So I should say it was just easier to get the prosthetic beak and to fix this mess. I'm just gonna put this back on. It's there, much better.
Fair enough. Well, at this point, just to piggyback off of that, at this point, if the opportunity ever did present itself to help resolve that situation, would you take it, or would you stay with this task that you've gotten for yourself?
Well, I would certainly look into whatever opportunity shows itself, but I really don't know. I would have to just look into it and, yeah,
Right.
decide then and there.
Fair enough. Well, I suppose that's all the questions I really had today. Is there, before we end this interview, is there anything you wanted to say yourself?
Well, I must say I was rather surprised when the alliance with the Knights of ended just as the war ended. It's been a tough time for us since that bit of security just disappeared. But we are doing our best.
Interesting. Yes, indeed. Of course, I am not Night Sorcerer Crow. I am Reporter Crow. Um, you may or may not be aware there are multiple crows, multiple clones.
Yes, yes, I
Uh,
know. I was speaking to you as the reporter crow. I wanted your
yes,
opinion on Sorcerer Crow and his Archmage.
I see. I see. Well, speaking as Reporter Crow, um, I think it is fair to say that I have no sense of loyalty to the other crow clones. Um, but what I would say is, from what I understand, Night Sorcerer Crow was completely unaware himself until after the fact that the alliance had ended. Um, Seems to be that a decision was made solely by his his archmage, Mindgrinder, and he was only told about it after the fact. Um, so I believe he actually doesn't have too many details as to, why it ended, or I know that that Sir Duck had the suspicion that the Storm Masters either bribed him off or something. Not entirely sure if that's true. Um, Unfortunately, I don't have too much detail, but in regards to my own personal opinion of Night Sorcerer Crow and the Archmage, it does seem that they have little bit of a communication gap, perhaps, and I think that I might have to interview Mindgrinder uh, fairly soon.
That does sound like a good idea.
Mm, indeed, indeed. All right, well, I think that this concludes this interview, unless you had any other questions or anything.
No, I don't. So,
All
it's
right.
been fun.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for coming. All right. Excellent.
Yeah,
Sounds good.
that went well.
Yeah, I think it did. I think it did. I think that this will answer a lot of questions for both audiences.
So, I was surprised with the prosthetic beak reveal.
Yes, I like that a lot. That was a really good development. I like the part where you were like, "I'm surprised no one's ever called me out on it before." That is good.
Actually, been thinking about that for actually a few months.
There you go.
Just needing an opportunity.
And maybe we'll get a plastic surgeon crow in here, and and we'll see what we can do.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go disconnect for a bit and make sure that the recording everything came through.
Right, and I'm gonna send you my Audacity recording. So
Sounds good. Yeah.
yeah.
Just
So if you
in
need to
case.
patch if you need to patch things, you can just use that.
Yes. Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, I will talk to you soon.
All right.
All right. Bye.
Bye.